Hello and welcome to another Beyond Shakespeare exploring session. I'm your host for the evening, Eric Karoulla, because obviously, as you could see from the lovely people here, Rob is not here. So I'm filling in. We're reading the Antiquary by Shackerley Marmion, and I still don't know if that's Shackerley. Well, anyway, yeah. This was a play written in 60, or at least printed in 1641, and we kind of haven't had much of a plot yet. Like there's been stuff set up, but if you really want to know what happened, go back and watch the previous video. So because even we don't know what happened, and we're still trying to work it out. We're taking it today from Act 3, Scene 1, and I should probably introduce these lovely readers who are going to do some reading. So, um, reading Bravo and Lionel, we have
Rachel in Canada.
reading the boy, a boy, sorry, Leonardo and Servant, we have.
Hi, I'm Tom from Brighton.
Reading Moccinigo, I'm trying to read my handwriting. That's what I'm looking at. Moccinigo, Aurelio, and Emilia. We have
Hi, I'm Greg, and I've been doing this 4 years. Blimey.
4 years, not 4 years. Well, look, I mean, yeah, it's both. Yeah, it's a long time. Reading Lucretia, Petrutio, the Antiquary, and Lorenzo, and hopefully not having an identity crisis. We have.
Hi, I'm Desna in Lancaster.
And finally, a new addition to the evening team. We have a Duke. Well, the Duke. I don't know if the Duke actually has a name. Petro and Angelia. We have.
Mark in the Midwest United States.
And as I said, I'm your host, Eric Karoulla. So I'll be reading stage directions and doing things, or trying to do things in the background. So Act 3, Scene 1, enter Bravo and the boy. These are characters that we've not actually met before, so here goes.
Boy, how sits my rapier?
Closer, like a friend that meant to stick to you.
He that will purchase honor and the name of Bravo must, by consequence, be a brave fellow. His title requires it.
But pray, sir, were you never put to the worst in your days?
Who, I? Worsted? No, boy. I do manage my rapier with as much steadiness and facility as a unicorn does his antler.
Sure, you must needs be very strong then.
Not so, neither. 'Tis courage in me. I do it by a sleight and activity, and by that I can control any man's point whatsoever.
Is it possible?
I tell thee, boy, I do as much surpass Hercules at my rapier as he did me in club fighting. Have you drawn a register of those men that have been forced by this weak instrument to lay down their lives? I think it has cut more lives than Atropos.
But pray, sir, were they all your own exploits?
Indeed, boy, thou mayest question it. For an they were to perform it again, they would hardly be done. What will this age come to? Were those stirring humors that were wont to trouble the world? Peace, I think, will overspread them all like gangrene, and men will die with the lethargy. There's no malice extant, no jealousies, no employment to set wickedness a work. 'Tis ne'er a dead time with me, but when there's nobody to kill.
That's a miserable extremity indeed, sir.
Leave me, boy, to my meditations.
Exit the boy to leave Bravo to his meditations. Enter Moccinigo.
Well, go thy ways, old Nick Machiavel. There will never be peer for thee and for wholesome policy and good counsel. Thou took'st pains to chalk men out the dark paths and hidden plots of murder and deceit, and no man has the grace to follow thee. The age is unthankful. Thy principles are quite forsaken and worn out of memory.
There's a fellow that walks melancholy, and that's commonly a passion apt to entertain any mischief. Discontent and honesty seldom harbour together. How scurvily he looks! What were the devil's factors? I'll tempt him. By your leave, sir.
Huh?
No hurt, good sir. Be so furious, I beseech you.
What are you?
I am bold to disturb you, and would fain to communicate a business, if you had the patience to hear me.
Speak. What is it?
You seem a man upon whom fortune, perhaps, has not cast so favourable an aspect as you deserve.
Can you win her to look better?
Though not her, yet perhaps a servant of hers, that shall be as gracious to you and profitable.
What's she?
It may be you want money. There's a way to purchase it if you have the heart.
The heart? Hast thou the heart to speak? Nay, to conceive what I dare not undertake?
A fit instrument to my purpose. How luckily has fortune brought me to him. Do you hear, sir? 'Tis but the slight killing of a man. Thing. Oh, so.
Is that all?
Nothing.
Some queasy stomach might turn, perhaps, at such a motion, but I am more resolved, better hardened. What is he? For I have my several rates, salaries for blood. For a lord, so much. For a knight, so much. For a gentleman, so much. A peasant, so much. A stranger, so much. And a native, so much.
Nay, he is a gentleman. And a citizen of Venice.
Let him be what he will, and we can agree. It has been a foolish ambition heretofore to save them, and men were rewarded for it with garlands. But I had rather destroy one or two of them, that they multiply too fast.
Do you know one Signor Aurelio, then? He's the man. He wooed my mistress and sought to win her from me.
A warrantable cause. Show me the man, and 'tis enough.
And what must I give you?
At a word, 30 livres. I'll not bait you at a besto.
I'll give you 20.
You bid like a chapman. Well, 'tis a hard time. In hope of your custom hereafter, I'll take your money.
There it is. Now for the means. How can you compass it? Will you not best poison him, think you?
With a bullet or stiletto. Poison him. I scorn to do things so poorly. No, I'll use valor in my villainy, or I'll do nothing.
Oh, you speak honourably. And now I think on it, see if you beat him more favourably and spell spared his life.
Beat him? Stay there. I'll kill him for this sum, but I'll not beat him for thrice the value, so he might do as much to me. No, I'll leave him impotent for all thought of revenge.
Enter to this Lucretia.
Listen, use your pleasure. Ah, look you, here's the gentlewoman for whose sake it is done. Lady, oh, you are come most opportunely to be a witness of my love and zeal to you. He is the man that will do the feat.
What feat?
That you and I consulted on. Kill the rascal Aurelio. Take him out of the way. What should he live any longer for? I'll have no man breathe that you disgust.
Then ought you to go and hang yourself.
Who? Self? What? Good service and respect to your quiet. If he have any mind to haunt your chamber hereafter, he shall do it as a ghost, without any substantial shape, I assure you.
Think the fool be in earnest. I must use policy and not play away a man's life so. Nay, prithee, sweetheart, be not angry. 'Twas but to try thee. This kiss and my love.
Oh, there's some amends yet. Now 'tis as it should be.
I am as deep and eager in this purpose as you are, therefore grant me leave a little to talk with him. I have some private counsel to give him for the better execution.
May I not hear?
No, as you love me, go.
Oh, our humour must be law. Oh, we that our suitors must deal with women as with towns besieged. Offer them fair conditions till you get them, and then we'll tyrannize. Yet there's a doubt is not resolved on.
Good sir, be gone.
I vanish! Oh, I best trust this fellow with my mistress. Temptations may rise. Oh, it is all one. I am a right Italian, and the world shall see that my revenge is above jealousy.
Exit Moccinigo.
Now, lady, your pleasure?
I would not allow myself any conference with you, did my reason persuade me that you were as bad as you seem to be. Pray, what are you?
I am, sweet creature, a kind of lawless justicer, or usurping martialist of authority that will kill any man with my safety.
And you purpose the death of this gentleman?
I will do anything for hire.
Have you no conscience?
Oh, conscience, I know not what it is. Why should any man live? And I want money.
Have you no regard then of innocence?
'Tis crime enough he has a life.
How long have you been versed in this trade?
'Tis my vocation.
Leave it, 'tis damnable, and thou the worst and basest of all villains. It had been better for the womb that bare thee if it had travailed with a pestilence. What seed of tigers could beget thee to such bold and rash attempts? For a small lucre, which will be straight as ill spent as 'twas got, to destroy that whose essence is divine. Souls in themselves more pure than are the heavens, or thy ill-boding stars, more worth than all the treasure locked up in the heart of earth, and yet do this unmoved or unprovoked.
I have no other means nor way of living.
'Twere better perish than be so supported. There are 1,000 courses to subsist by.
Aye, but a free and daring spirit scorns to stoop to servile ways, but will choose rather to purchase his revenue from his sword.
I see you are growing obdurate in your crimes, founded to vice, lost to all piety, without the apprehension of what wrong you do your country in depriving her of those she now enjoys as useful members, and killing their posterity who perhaps might, with their art or industry, advance her.
What courteous itch, I wonder, has possessed your virtuous ladyship to give me advice? Best keep your wits until you get a husband, who may, perhaps, require your learned counsel.
'Tis true, such as do act thy villainies hate to be told or think of them, but hear me. Hast thou no sense, nor no remorse of soul, nor thought of any deity who, though it spare thee for a while, will send at last a quick return of vengeance on thy head, and dart thee down like Phaeton?
Sweet virgin, faces about some other discourse. I cannot relish this.
So I believe, but yet compose your thoughts for speedy penitence. Your life for an amendment, or I vow to lay your actions open to the Senate.
Did not your sweetheart tempt me to this deed? And will you now betray me?
He, my sweetheart? Ah, I hate you both alike. That very word is enough to divorce thee from my pity, past hope of reconcilement. For what mercy is to be had of two such prodigies? Will you recant yet? Speak, will you be honest?
I think you'll force me to become your patient.
It is the way to heal thee of a sore, whose cure is supernatural. What art, what mirror is sufficient to demonstrate the foulness of thy guilt, whose leprous mind is but one stained seas cannot cleanse? Why, murder. 'Tis of all vices the most contrary to every virtue and humanity, for they intend the pleasure and delight, but this the dissolution of nature.
She does begin to move me.
Think of thy sin, it is the heir apparent unto hell, and has so many and so ugly shapes. His father Pluto and the Furies hate to look on their own birth, yet thou darest act what they fear to suggest, and sell thy soul to quick perdition.
Thou hast waked me into a quicker insight of my evils. They have impaled me round with horrid shapes, more various than several forms of dreams that wait on Morpheus in his sleepy den.
Then 'tis a fearful sin, and always labours with the new birth of damned inventions and horrid practices. For 'tis so fearful, it dares not walk alone, and where it bides there is no rest, nor no security, but a perpetual tempest of despair.
All this I feel by sad experience. Where have I been? Where have I lived a stranger? Exiled from all good thoughts. Never till now did any beam of grace or good shine on me.
Besides, 'tis so abhorred of all that's good that when this monster lifts his cursed head above the earth and wraps it in the clouds, the sun flies back as loath to stain his rays with such a foul pollution, and night, in emulation of so black a deed, puts on her darkest robe to cover it.
Oh, do not grate too much upon my sufferings. You have won upon my conscience, and I feel a sting within me tells my troubled soul that I have trod too long these bloody paths that lead unto destruction.
And be sorry, and with repentance purge away thy sin.
With all my days and hours consumed in prayers, my eyes dissolved to tears, wash off such crimes?
If they be serious and continued.
You are a virgin, and your vows are chaste. Do you assist me?
So you'll do the like for me in what I shall propose.
I will, and joy to be employed. There's no thought which can proceed from you, but which is virtuous, and 'tis a comfort and a kind of goodness to mix with you in any action.
Nay, more, in recompense of your fair proffer, because you say you are destitute of means, I'll see that want supplied.
Oh, divinest lady, command my service.
Walk then in with me, and then I will acquaint you with the project.
And that's where they exit and the scene ends. So basically, Bravo went, I can kill anybody, I'm so amazing. And then Moccinigo comes in to tell him, please kill someone on my behalf, I'll give you money. And Bravo goes, yes. Then Lucretia comes in and convinces him not to kill someone, but also sort of basically has him at her behest because he thinks she saved his soul. Any thoughts on this first scene, Rachel? Then
It's difficult to know how Bravo's change is so sudden and so pronounced. I mean, Lucretia must have quite a profound effect on him, and that's in this short scene, it's difficult, I think.
Yeah, Greg, then Mark, then Desna.
Just going to do my usual. Interesting in Moccinigo. He said that was a very interesting scene, and I loved. Once I got the fact that there were signs in there, it made it just that bit more fun. But I sort of loved the sudden expression of, "Oh, she's on her way." Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I'm doing this for you. Oh, you just thought, if it was a tragedy, I'd be playing Spot the Stiff at this point. Because I reckon if this was I don't know, and I've forgotten the name. I think it's a comedy. I think Moccinigo would definitely be in for the chop. But who knows it? Because it just would be too obvious for it to be the person who they're supposed to be killing.
yeah.
But yeah.
Mark, you had those.
Yeah, I mean, have we all looked at the character list where Bravo is, like in our script at the top, where Bravo is listed as father to Aurelio in disguise? And that just makes me more confused.
Basically, father, yeah.
I'm
Desna
dumping up on
had-
what I said a minute ago then.
Yeah.
But yeah, when like when Bravo is told that it's one Signor Aurelio,
Yeah.
Bravo doesn't have like an aside saying, "That's my son." Like, I'm so confused about it. It doesn't feel like Bravo is anything besides what he's presenting himself to be,
Well,
but
yeah,
apparently he
I
is.
seem to remember that in a previous scene he did sort of go, "Yeah, I will disguise myself and serve my son and help and so on and so forth." But I can't remember if that's this play or a different play. So,
That
yeah,
that would have been useful for me to remember for that.
yeah,
Thank you,
uh,
belatedly.
Desna then Tom.
Yeah, I think I was going to point out the same thing as Mark, that Bravo's Aurelio's father disguised. So I didn't really have anything else.
Have we actually met him?
I don't think, I can't remember. There was, I know I'm getting confused. Anyway, I can continue to consider Lucretia a badass, and I hope I'm doing the justice.
Yeah, she's like, yes, I will totally. Yeah. Tom.
Yeah, just again the usual. The difficulty we face is first reading because it's quite nicely written, and you can actually really develop the characters quite nicely, and the interaction between them.
Yeah.
But on a first reading, we're just walking straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah, also it's been a week for context, dear viewers, it's been a week, so we've got very little idea of like sort of like what happened before, so but there's been no setup for this. Like there's no I will go serve my son and help him I don't know, get the girl or something. But yeah. Though I kind
Yeah,
of do like how he goes, there's never a dead time with me, but when there's nobody to kill. It's like he has the puns. They're dad jokes. They're proper dad jokes as well. I think they qualify. Mark?
I was just gonna say, like, we don't seem to have any insight at this point in the play about whether he knows that is his son, or if he just assumes it's some other dude named Aurelio.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Mm. Well, also, Lucretia sort of goes, yeah, I think you should just go hang yourself and I'll handle this. It's fine. I can tell him some pointers, since the guy has been flirting with me, I can totally just sort of, tell him to bugger off. But yeah. I'm not sure what to think about this scene except the fact that it's basically it's a setup for Lucretia to do her thing about like not getting someone killed, but clearly having some sort of idea about what to do with Aurelio, or yeah. Yeah. I want to know what happens next now, so I think we should probably go on. Any other thoughts before we do? Okay. Act 3, Scene 2. Enter the Duke, Lionel, and Leonardo with Petrutio following.
I see him coming. Let's fall into admiration of his good parts, that he may overhear his own praise.
I have, methinks, a longing desire to meet with Signor Petrutio.
Oh, I hear myself named amongst them. 'Tis no point of civility to listen what opinion the world holds of me. I shall conceive it by their discourse. A man behind his back shall be sure to have nothing but truth spoke of him.
Pray, sir, when saw you that thrice noble and accomplished gentleman, Petrutio?
Oh, thrice noble and accomplished. There's a new style thrust upon me.
It pleased the indulgency of my fate to bless me with his company this morning, where he himself was no less favorable to grace me with the perusal of a madrigal, or an essay of beauty, which he had then newly composed.
Well, gallants, either my understanding misinforms me, or he is one of the most rare and noble qualified pieces of gentility that ever did enrich our climate.
Believe it, sir. 'Twere a kind of profanation to make doubt on the contrary.
Happy minds such acquaintance. A man shall have his due when your meaner society has neither judgment to discern worth, nor credit to commend it.
'Twas my happiness the other day to be in the presence with certain ladies where I heard him the most extolled and approved. One of them was not ashamed to pronounce it openly, that she would never desire more of heaven than to enjoy such a man for her servant.
It shall be my next employment to inquire out for that lady.
'Tis a miracle to me how, in so small a competency of time, he should arrive to such an absolute plenitude of perfection.
No wonder at all. A man that has travelled and been careful of his time.
But, by your favour, sir, 'tis not every man's happiness to make so good use on it.
I'll resolve you some things there is as great a mystery in the acquisition of knowledge as of wealth. Have you not a citizen will grow rich in a moment? And why not be ingenious? Besides, who knows but he might have digged for it, and so found out some concealed treasure of understanding?
Now, as I am truly noble, 'tis a wrongful imputation upon me.
Well, if he had but bounty annexed to his other sufficiencies, he were unparalleled.
Nay, there's no man in the earth more liberal. Take it upon my word, he has not that thing in the world so dear or precious in his esteem, which he will not most willingly part with upon the least summons of his friend.
Oh, now I must give away some £200 or £300 worth of toys to maintain this assertion.
You spoke of verses e'en now. If you have the copy, pray vouchsafe us a sight of them.
I can suddenly resolve you. Yes, here they are.
What's this? A madrigal of beauty. It should praise her virtue and her beauty, as 'tis my duty, and tell her how every grace doth become, 'tis 10 to 1, but I should fail in the expression.
I marry, sir, this sounds something like excellent.
Then, by your leave, although I cannot write willot, I conceive 'tis my desire that what I fail to speak you would admire.
Why, this has some taste in it. How should he arrive to this admirable invention?
Are you so preposterous in your opinion to think that wit and elegancy in writing are only confined to stagers and bookworms? 'Twere a solecism to imagine that a young bravery who lives in the perpetual sphere of humanity, where every waiting woman speaks perfect Arcadia, and the lady's lips distill with the very quintessence of conceit, should be so barren of apprehension as not to participate of their virtues.
Now, I consider that they are a great help to a man.
But when he has travelled and debated the French and the Spanish, can lie abed and expound Astrea, and digest him into compliments, and when he is up, accost his mistress with what he had read in the morning. Now, if such a one should rack up his imagination and give wings to his muse, 'tis credible he should more catch your delicate court ear than all your head-scratchers, thumb-biters, lamp-wasters of them all.
Well, I say the inquiry of fortune appears in nothing more than not advancing that man to some extraordinary honours.
But I never thought he had any genius that way.
Oh, what? Because he has been backward to produce his good qualities? Believe it, poetry will out. It can no more be hid than fire or love.
I'll break them off. They have e'en spoken enough in my behalf for nothing of conscience. Save you, cavalieros.
My much honored Petrutio, you are welcome. We were now entered into a discourse of your worth. Whither your occasions enforce you so fast?
Gentlemen, to tell you true, I am going upon some raptures.
Upon raptures, say you?
Yes, my employment is tripartite. I have here an anagram to a lady I made of her name this morning, with a posy to another that must be inserted into a ring. And here's a paper carries a secret word too that must be given and worn by a knight and tilter. And all my own imaginations, as I hope to be blessed.
Is it possible? How have you lately drunk of the horse pond or stepped in the forked Parnassus that you start out so sudden a poet?
I leave your helicons and your pale Pyrenees to such as will look after them. For my own part, I follow the instigation of my brain and scorn other helps.
Do you so?
I'll justify it. The multiplicity of learning does but distract a man. I am all for your modern humours, and when I list to express a passion, it flows from me with that spring of amorous conceits, that a true lover may hang his head over and read in it the very physiognomy of his affection.
Why, this is a rare mirror.
'Tis so, indeed, and beyond all the parts of optics.
And when my head labours with the pangs of delivery, by chance up comes a countess's waiting woman, at whose sight is at the remembrance of a mistress. My pen falls out of my hand, and then do I read to her half a dozen lines, whereat we both sit together and melt into tears.
Pitiful-hearted, charted creatures.
I am now about a device that this gentleman has promised shall be presented before his highness.
Yes, upon my word, sir, and yourself with it.
Oh, shall the Duke take notice of me too? Oh, heavens, how you transport me with the thought on it!
I'll bring you to him, believe me, and you know not what grace he may do you.
'Tis a happiness beyond mortal, I cannot tell. It may be my good fortune to advance you all.
Oh, we shall be glad to have dependence on you.
Gentles, I would entreat you a courtesy.
What's that, signor?
That you would be all pleased to grace my lodging tomorrow at a banquet. There will be ladies and gallants, and among the rest, I'll send to invite your uncle, the Antiquary, and we'll be very merry, I assure you.
Well, sir, your bounty commands us not to fail you.
Bounty, there's a memorandum for me. In the meantime, pray accept these few favours at my hands as assurances that you will not fail me. Till when, I take my leave.
And Petrutio exits.
Farewell, sir. Go thy ways. Thou hast as dull a piece of scalp as e'er covered the brain of any traveller.
For love's sake, Lionel, let's haste to thy uncle before the coxcomb prevents us.
Why, sir, I stay for you.
Has Petrutio prepared him for your entrance? And is your disguise fit?
I have all in readiness.
On then, and when you are warm in your discourse, we'll come with our advice to affright him. 'Twill be an excellent scene of affliction.
Be sure you mark your cue, sir, and do not fail to approach.
Trust to my care, I warrant you.
And there ends the scene. They exit. Yeah. So basically, they're making fun of the guy who is a bit, just yes. Any thoughts? I suspect there are quite a few thoughts on this, but yeah. I suspect also that we shall have to mark the fact that the Duke is disguised in this, maybe. Or at least I don't think he's actually met Petrutio, so I don't know if that would make a difference to either of them. Any thoughts on this scene?
Well,
Yeah, Rachel has a thought, and then Tom.
the poetry that Lionel reads, that supposedly Petrutio's, is truly dreadful.
Poor guy. He's trying. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's. I think that's the point. He's kind of like, yeah. Tom.
Again, it was one of those ensemble scenes where you really you only get the whiff waff, the ping pong when you're in a room together. But again, it's nicely written.
Yeah, I
not
just like
bad.
how Petrutio thinks that. Well, obviously he thinks he's God's gift to women as well. So he's kind of like that thing of, yes, I don't need to study. I just come up with this stuff because I'm so amazing. And yeah, and I think the best part is just his line about the countess as a waiting woman. And oops, I dropped my pen. Yeah, it seems a bit. Yeah, I still don't get if the sort of sitting together and melting into tears actually does happen, and if they're melting into tears because it's so funny or because it's just yeah. Well, I want to see what happens at the banquet now. So I suppose we should continue. Act 3, Scene 3. Enter Aurelio and the servant.
Gentlewoman without, speak with me, say you?
Yes, sir, and will be by no means be put back.
I am no lawyer nor secretary. Business can she have here, I want?
She is very importunate to enter.
I was once in the humour of to permit any of them to come near me again. But since she is so eager, let her approach.
Is it servant?
I try my strength, what proof 'tis against her enchantments. If ever Ulysses were more provident or better armed to sail by the sirens, I'll perish. If she have the art to impose upon me, let her beg my wit for an anatomy, and dissect it.
Enter Lucretia.
Now, lady, humour. What new emotion in the blood has turned the tide of your fancy to come hither?
These words are but unkind salutes to a gentlewoman.
Oh, they are too good for you. With what face dare you approach hither, knowing how infinitely you have abused me? You want matter to exercise your wits on. The world's too wise for you. And ere you ensnare me again, you'll have good.
I said, do not reiterate those things which might better be forgotten. I confess I have done ill because I am a woman and young, and 'twill be nobleness in you not to remember it.
I'll sooner plough up shore and sow it, and live in expectation of a crop, before I'll think the least good from any of your sex when I breathe again.
I hope, sir, that time and experience will rectify your judgment to a better opinion of us.
I'll trust my ship to a storm, my substance to a broken citizen, and I'll credit any of you.
But, sir, be entreated. I come a penitent lover, with a vowed recantation to all former practices and malicious endeavours that I have wrought against you.
How can I think better of you when I consider your nature, your pride, your treachery, your covetousness, your lust, and how you commit perjury easier than you speak?
Sure, 'tis no desert in us, but your own misguided thoughts that move in you this passion.
Indeed, times I thought you were pretty foolish things to play withal, and I was so blinded as to imagine that your hairs were golden threads, that your eyes darted forth beams, that laughter sat smiling on your lips, and the coral itself looked pale to them, that you moved like a goddess and diffused your pleasures wide as the air. Then could I prevent the rising sun to wait on you, observe every nod you cast forth, had the patience to hear your discourse, and admired you when you talked of your visits, of the court, councils, of nobility, and of your ancestors.
And were not these pleasing to you?
Nothing but a heap of tortures. But since I've learned the Delphic oracle to know myself and ponder what a deal of mischief you work, I am content to live the private and solitary, without any without any pensive thought what you can do, what shall become of you.
Sir, if you calculate all occasions, I have not merited this neglect from you.
Yes, and more. Do you not remember what tasks you were wont to put me to, and expenses, when I bestowed on you gowns and petticoats, and you in exchange gave me bracelets and shoe ties? How you fooled me sometimes, and set me to pin plates in your rough 2 hours together, and made a waiting frippery of me. how you racked my brains to compose verses for you. Oh, a thing I could never abide, I nay, my conscience, and I had not took courage you had brought me to spin and beat me with your slippers.
Well, sir, I perceive you are resolved to hear no reason, but before my sorrowful departure, know, she that you slight is the preserver of your life. Therefore, I dare be bold to call you ingrate, and in that I have spoke all that can be ill in man.
Pray, stay. Back a little.
Not till you are better tempered. What I have revealed is true, and though you prove unthankful, good deeds reward themselves. The conscience of the fact shall pay my virtue, so I leave you.
And with that mic drop, she leaves.
I should owe my life to her. What I wonder? Since it depends on this, I must win out. Well, I will not forswear it, for the toy may take me in the head, and I may see her.
And exit Aurelio. This scene is just fun because, well, for context, Mark, you weren't here the last time, but basically what happened is Aurelio was doing a sort of balcony thing of like, oh, I love you, you're so wonderful, your eyes shine like stars, blah blah blah, and then she basically goes, no, I'm not having it. You woke me up in the middle of the night, go away. And he basically swears off women, and especially her, of course. So obviously with this setup, her coming back to find him is quite an interesting development. Greg.
I love Aurelio's. Oh no! I don't want to know. And then he just melts by the end of that scene. You know, I was playing it that he was, and I realized. I suddenly realized I hadn't actually read forward, so I didn't actually know if that's what happened. But you could tell the point at which he started to break when the lists came out. I did this, and I did this, and then I did this, and oh, you weren't nice to me, and I just thought, yeah, you're breaking, mate. You're a hard-hearted animal, and I think I may have just ducked myself. And then he melts, and I just loved it. It's another great little scene, as you say.
Yeah, I think also it's just the fact that he gives all those lists, and then Lucretia basically goes, "I know that someone's going to try and kill you," or she just goes, "I will preserve your life if if you want to talk about that, just maybe." So it's kind of like, I mean, and he goes, "Oh, wait, what? Come back! I need to, what? Yeah." So yeah, it was quite great scene. Any thoughts? Any other thoughts, rather? Or should we move on? We should move on. Okay. Acts 3, Scene 4. Enter the Antiquary and Petro.
Has he such rare things, say you?
Yes, sir. I believe you have not seen the like of them. They are a couple of old manuscripts found in a wall and stored up with the foundation. It may be they are writings of some prophetess.
What moves you to think so, Petro?
Because, sir, the characters are so imperfect, for time has eaten out the letters, and the dust makes a parenthesis betwixt every syllable.
A shrewd, convincing argument. This fellow has a notable reach with him. Go, bid him enter. 100 to 1 some fool has them in his possession that knows not their value. It may be, a man may purchase them for little or nothing. Come near, friend. Let me
Entered
see
Lionel dressed as a scholar, with 2 books.
Come near, friend. Let me see what you have there. Tis as they said. They are of the old Roman binding. What's the price of these?
Oh, I would be loath, sir, to sell them under any rate, only to merit laughter for my rashness. Therefore I thought good to bestow them on you and refer myself to your wisdom and free nature for my satisfaction.
You say well. Then I am bound again in conscience to deal justly with you. Will 500 crowns content you?
I'll demand no more, sir.
Petro, see them delivered. Now, I need not fear to tell you what they are. This is a book de Republica. It is Marcus Tullius Cicero's own handwriting. I have some other books of his, penning give me insurance.
And what's the other, sir?
This other is a book of mathematics that was long lost in darkness and afterwards restored by Ptolemy.
I wonder, sir, unless you were Time's secretary, how you should arrive at this intelligence.
I know it's by more than inspiration. You had them out of a wall, you say?
Yes, sir.
Well then, however you came by them, they were first brought to Venice by Cardinal Germanus, a patriarch, and were digged out of the ruins of Aquileia after it was sacked by Attila, king of the Huns.
Oh, this to me is wonderful.
Petro, I mean to retire and give myself wholly to contemplation of these studies, and because nothing shall hinder me, I mean to lease out my lands and live confined. Inquire me out a chapman that will take them off me.
If you please to let them, sir, I will help you to a tenant.
Will you, sir? With all my heart, and I'll afford him the better bargain for your sake.
He may pay the rent with counters and make him believe they are antiquities.
What's the yearly rent of them, Petro?
They have been racked, sir, to 3,000 crowns, but the old rent was never above 1,500.
Go to, you have said enough. I'll have no more than the old rent. Name your man and the indenture shall be drawn.
Before I propose that, sir, I thought good to acquaint you with a specialty I found among other writings, which, having a seal to it and a name subscribed, does most properly belong to you.
Let me see it. What's here? Signor Giovanni Veterano de Montenegro. He was my great-grandfather, and this is an old debt of his that remains yet uncancelled. You could never have pleased me better to my cost. This ought in conscience to be discharged, and I'll see it satisfied the first thing I do. Come along.
Will you afford your nephew no exhibition of your estate, sir?
Not a soul, not a gazette. I have articles to propose before the Senate shall disinherit me.
Have you, sir? Not justly, I hope. Pray, what are they?
One of them is, he sent me letters beyond sea, dated Stilo Nova.
Oh, that was a great oversight.
Then you remember, Petro, he took up commodities, new fashion stuffs, when he was underage too, to see my cousin his creditors.
Yes, sir.
And afterwards found out a new way to pay them too.
He served them but in their kind, sir. Perhaps they meant to have cheated him.
'Tis all one. I'll have no such practices. But the worst of all, one time when I found him drunk and chid him for his vice, he had no way to excuse himself but to say he would become a new man.
That was heinously spoken indeed.
These are sufficient aggravations to anyone that shall understand my humour.
And enter the Duke and Leonardo.
Save you, sir.
These gentlemen shall be witnesses to the bonds. You are very welcome.
I hardly believe it when you hear our message.
Why, I beseech you.
I'm sorry to be made the unkind instrument to wrong you, but since 'tis a task imposed from so great a command, I hope you will the easier be induced to dispense with me.
Come nearer to your aim, I understand you not.
Then thus, sir. The Duke has been informed of your rarities, and holding them an unfit treasure for a private man to possess, he hath sent his mandamus to take them from you. See, here's his hand for the delivery.
Oh,
What ails you, sir?
I'm struck with a sudden sickness. Some good man help to keep my soul in, that's rushing from me, and will by no means be entreated to continue.
Pray, sir, be comforted.
Comfort? No, I despise it. He has given me daggers to my heart.
Show yourself a man, sir, and contemn the worst of fortune.
Good sir, Could you not have invented a less studied way of torture to take away my life?
I hope 'twill not work so deeply with you.
Nay, and 'twould stop there. 'Twere well, but 'tis a punishment that will follow me after death and afflict me worse than fury.
I much pity the gentleman's case.
Think what 'tis to lose a son when you have brought him up, or after a 7 years' voyage to see your ship sink in the harbour.
'Twere a woeful spectacle indeed.
They are ticklings to this. I have been all my life a gathering what I must now lose in a moment. The sacking of a city is nothing to be compared with it.
And that's lamentable.
'Twill but only give you a light to conceive of my misery.
Pray, sir, be not importunate to take them at this time, but try rather, if by any means you can, revoke the decree.
'Twill be somewhat dangerous, but for your sake, I'll try.
Shall I hope any comfort? Then, upon my credit, gentlemen, I'll appoint you all mine heirs so soon as I'm dead.
You speak nobly.
Nay, and because you shall not long gape after it, I'll die within a month and set you down all joint executors.
But when you are freed from the terror of his imposition, will you not recant?
Nay, and you doubt me, walk along, and I'll confirm it upon instantly.
And they exit, and that's the end of the scene. I do like how the Antiquary has like sort of an appointment for his death. It's like, I'll die within a month, just in case, you're any thoughts on this scene? Desna, you were reading the Antiquary, or did you feel appropriately terrified of the Duke's decree?
Oh, I don't know, because the Antiquary, well, in my mind, the Antiquary is playing a kind of a duplicitous game anyway. So whether he's truly frightened or not, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
Does that help?
Well, I mean, he's kind of, because he doesn't want to lose all his income. Though I think based on what Petro and Lionel, like the exchange between Petro and Lionel, that sort of sounds like he isn't fully aware of his, like the sort of fakeness of his antiquities or not. I'm not sure. Or Rachel, any thoughts? Because I wasn't sure about that bit. There was a line about like 3,000 crowns or something, and
Yeah, I think Lionel knows that they're fake.
yeah, Lionel would, but he's the nephew.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if the Antiquary knows, because
Yeah, I don't think so.
yeah.
He thinks he can tell, handwriting that was probably, non-existent handwriting.
Yeah, or just like sort of, it might even be a printed book, and he's like, "Yes, I understand. I can totally read this handwriting." Yeah. Mark, any thoughts on this scene?
I love that the Duke just keeps being like in disguise, being like, "Oh, the Duke said this. The Duke's gonna do this. The Duke's orders."
Yeah, the big guy said that. Yeah.
Definitely not me.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what's happening to the rest of like his business, because obviously like the Duke has nothing better to do. Like his affairs are clearly being taken care of. Yeah. So we should probably move on to Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Emilia and Angelia, or Angelia, depending. Well, basically a page dressed as, well, a page. Yeah, a page. Anyway.
Angelia dresses a page.
No, basically, Angelia is a page, but he's been basically handed over to the family of Lorenzo, who is the father of Lucretia. But he's not his boss. He's yeah. Anyway, it's a long story.
Really? Sorry, I just realized I was like, why, gentle boy, Think what a happy bliss thou shalt enjoy before thou knowest what 'tis.
'Twill be a dear experiment to waste my prime and flower of youth and suffer all those liquid sweets to be extracted from me by the hot influence of consuming lust, only to find how well you can express what skilful arts are hidden wickedness.
Thou dream'st, fond boy. Those sweets of youth and beauty were lent to be employed upon their like, and when they both do meet and are extinguished from their mixed heat, a rich perfume shall rise, and burn to love a grateful sacrifice.
But I'll not be so prodigal to lavish such gifts away that be irrevocable, and yet the first that leave us.
Oh, 'twill be ne'er exacted how soon you have bestowed them, but how well. What good or profit can a hidden treasure do more than feed the miser's greedy eye? When if 'twere well bestowed, it might enrich the owner and the user of it. Such is youth, and nature's beauty, bounty, the receiver gain from the expense. But were there none but a mere damage, yet the pleasure of it and the delight would recompense the loss.
Where the pleasure be, or the delight, I am too young, not plumed for such a flight.
Oh, too young? Poor excuse. Alas, your will is weaker than your power. No one can be too young to learn good arts. And for my part, I am not taken with a boisterous sinew, a brawny limb, or back of Hercules, but with a soft, delicious beauty, such as people looking on his doubtful sex might think him male or female.
I cannot blame these just Italians to lock up their wives that are so free and dissolute. They labor not with their country's heat more than their... there may be a line or word missing here. And then, will
Yeah,
you be
this is the book.
satisfied? I am too young?
I'm too young. Oh, I like you the better. There is a price due to the early cherry. The first apples deserve more grace. The budding rose is set by, but stale and fully blown is left for vulgars to rub their sweaty fingers on. Too young! Oh, as well as you may affirm the tender tree too young to graft upon, or you may say the rising sun's too young to court the day.
But there are bonds Hymen has laid upon you. Keep us asunder.
Those are only toys, shadows, mere apparitions of doubt to fright children. Do but yield unto me, my arm shall be thy sphere to wander in, circled about with spells to charm these fears, and when thou sleepest, Cupid shall crown thy slumbers with thousand shapes of lustful dalliance. Oh, then will I bathe thee in ambrosia. Oh, from thy lips shall nectar, and from my lips distill such nectar on thee, shall make thy flesh immortal.
And having returned to the sort of Ganymede thing from the first scene, Ganymede description of the boy in the first scene, we enter Lorenzo, who is actually Emilia's husband.
How now, wife? Is this your exercise? Wife, did I say? Stain of my blood and issue, the great antipathy unto my nature. Courting your paramour? Death to my honour! What have I seen and heard? Curse of my fate! Would I first have been deaf, or thou struck dumb, before this gorgon, this damned vision had numbed my faculties?
What have you seen or heard? More than a dialogue I read this morning in a book.
Would thou and that book were both burnt for heretics. You genial powers, why did you send this serpent to my bosom, to pierce me through with greater cruelty than Cleopatra felt from stings of adders? Hence from my sight, thou venom to my eyes. Would I could look thee dead, or with a frown dissect thee into atoms, and then hurl them about the world to cast infection and blister all they light on.
You are mad and rave without cause.
Oh, heavens, she means to justify her sin. Canst thou redeem thy lost fame and my wrongs?
Yes, sir, I'll leave.
Exit Emilia.
Pray, sir, be satisfied we meant no hurt.
What charm held back my hand I did not let her foul blood out, then throw it into the air, whence it might mount up to the higher region and there convert into some fearful meteor to threaten all her kindred. Stay, sweet child, for thou art virtuous. Yet go, however, that puts me in remembrance of some ill.
And with that shady business, exit Angelia.
Diana blushed Actaeon to a stag. What shall lust do? Chastity made horns? I shall be grafted with a horrid pair, and between every branch a written scroll shall speak my shame, that footboys shall discern it and sailors read it as they pass along. I bear this. I have no soul nor spleen. I must invent some mischief. Smallest cares are talkative, whilst great ones silent are.
Exit Lorenzo, enter Emilia. So basically, I'm assuming from different entrances, because otherwise that would be kind of weird.
What have I done that with a clue of lust have wrought myself in such a labyrinth whence I shall ne'er get free? Oh, there is no wrong like to the breach of wedlock. Those injuries are writ in marble, time shall ne'er raise out. The hearts of such, if they be once divided, will ne'er grow one again. Sooner you may call the spent day, or bid the stream return that long since slid beside you. I am lost, quite forfeited to shame, which till I felt I ne'er foresaw, so was the less prepared. But yet they say a woman's wit is sudden, and quick at an excuse. I was too foolish. Had he confounded heaven on earth with oaths, I might have sworn him down, or wept so truly that he should sooner question his own eyes than my false tears. Oh, this had been worth the act, or else I might have stood to the defence of it, been angry, and took courage of my crime, but I was tame and ignorant.
And enter. Wait a sec. Yeah, enter Lionel. Read by me apparently. Save you, lady.
Oh, Signor Lionel, you haven't.
Who I? In which way?
Oh, you brought my husband.
I? What of him?
Oh, he's a witch, a thief, has stolen all my honours. His smooth visage seemed like to a sea Becomed, or a safe harbour, where love might ride securely, but was found a dangerous quicksand, wherein have perished my hopes and fortunes by no art or engine to be weighed up again.
Instruct me how?
Teach me the way that I may relate my own ill story with as great a boldness as I did first in conceive and after act it. What wicked error led my wandering thoughts to gaze on his false beauty? This proved the fatal minute of my mind's first. Shall I be brief?
What else?
How can I speak or plead with hope that of so foul a cause?
You torture me too much. I fear the evil is worse than the event. The fear, I fear,
Oh, then,
the fear of evil is worse than the event.
then down my heart abhor the memory, I'll tell it out. The boy I mentioned. Oh, 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 whatever power did lay on me so sad a punishment. I did behold him with a lustful eye, and which is the perfection of sin, did woo him to my will.
Well, what of that? You are not the first offender in that kind.
My sooner ended, but can it be my jealous husband?
That was something indeed.
Or who overheard us all?
Shrewd mischance.
Judge with what countenance he did behold me, or I view him that had so great a guilt to hang on me my brow. My looks and hot desire both fell together, whilst he, big with anger and swollen high with revenge, hastes from my presence. Oh, only to study how to inflict some torture which I stayed to expect, and here you see the suffering object of his cruelty.
Methinks it were an easy thing for one that were ingenious to retort, "Oh, ale on his head and on his own head, and make him ask forgiveness."
That would be a scene indeed.
I have been fortunate in such turns in my days.
Could you do this? I'd swear you had more wit than Mercury, or his son Autolycus, that was able to change black into white.
Oh, do not despair. I have a genius was ne'er false to me. If he should fail me now in these extremes, I would not only wonder, but renounce him. Tells me something may be done, be ruled, and if I plot not so to make all a hit, then you shall take the mortgage of my wit.
However, sir, you speak comfortably.
And they exit. That is such a weird scene. Yeah, because like Emilia is basically coming on to Angelia, right? Which I'm guessing is the joke in the whole thing, like from the beginning. Or really, yeah, I think it's Aurelio or no, it's Petrutio who describes him as this Ganymede of youth or whatever, and then obviously clearly is very desirable. Any thoughts, Mark?
But so Angelia, Angelina, seeing it both ways in the script, is the sister of Lionel.
No, actually, it's a younger boy, as far as we can tell. But we
But
can't tell if it's a man or a woman.
The character list says Angelia, sister to Lionel, in the disguise of a page.
Yeah. However, that was not set up from the beginning of the play, so we don't really know any of that. At the moment, we think that Angelia or Angelina is a young boy, basically. So hence, we kind of don't like at this point. We thought it was basically Emilia coming on to a young boy, which I mean, also if it was a young girl, would have been equally shady. Considering the age difference. But yeah, so we like none of us actually know that this is happening. Or I mean, we didn't have any reveal, like sort of, all we didn't have what do you call it? There wasn't an initial scene with Angelia going, I shall disguise myself as a boy, or I shall disguise myself as a page. So, yeah. I think this is what Rob would call a spoiler. Yeah. Any other thoughts aside from Lionel trying to fix things, which is kind of, I don't know. I wonder what he's up to. Mark, any thoughts?
No, I'm just trying to keep track of what the audience is or isn't supposed to know about whose disguise is what.
Yeah, basically, whoever's disguised is, aside from like the Duke and I think Leonardo. I don't know if Leonardo's disguised. But the Duke is definitely like doing a very obvious disguise, sort of like like probably the kind of wearing a mustache that kind of falls off, because we've been told throughout the play that the Duke is going to be in disguise, well, not throughout the play, but definitely sort of it was set up in action, whereas everything else has been sort of headachingly not, which is quite bad. Any thoughts on like I don't know, I'm quite enjoying this. Like now that there's actually like interaction, I feel like this is actually flowing a lot more easily. At the beginning was sort of Petrutio doing a monologue on how awesome he was, and how he wanted to be part of the court and so on and so forth. So yeah. Any other thoughts on this scene? Okay, I feel like I'm talking about Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Aurelio above, Duke and Leonardo over the stage.
Good morrow, gentlemen. What? Are you for the feast, I perceive?
Master Aurelio, good morrow to you. Whose chamber's that, I pray?
My own, sir, now. I thank your fortune and a good wife.
What, are you married and your friends not pre-acquainted? This will be construed amongst them.
A stolen wedding, sir. I was glad to apprehend any case. Get me teeth back in. A stolen wedding, sir. I was glad to apprehend any occasion when I found her inclining. We'll celebrate the solemnities hereafter when there shall be nothing wasting to make our hymen happy and flourishing.
In good time, sir. Who is your spouse, I pray?
Marry, sir, a creature for whose sake I have endured many a heat and cold, but I can vanquish her. She has proved one of Hercules' labours to me, but time, that perfects all things, made by long toil and affection both successful, and he briefed his mistress Lucretia as very haggard as ever was brought to fist.
Indeed, I've often heard you much complain of her coyness and disdain. What auspicious charm has now reconciled you together?
There is, sir, a critical minute in every man's wooing, when his mistress may be won, which if he carelessly neglect to prosecute, he may wait long enough before he can gain the like opportunity.
It seems, sir, you have lighted upon it. We wish you much joy in your fair choice.
Thank you, gentlemen, and to either of you no worse fortune, but my wife is not yet risen. I would entreat you to take the pains, come up and visit her.
No, sir, that would be uncivil. We'll wait some fitter occasion to gratulate your rights. Good morrow to you.
Exit the Duke and Leonardo.
Your servant, nay, lie you still dare not so much as to proffer and to mutter. But if you do, I vanish. And if you will revolt, you may. I have laid a stain upon your honour which you shall wash off as well as you can.
Was this done like
enter Lucretia?
Was this done like a gentleman, or indeed like a true lover, to bring my name in question and make me no less than your whore? Was I ever married to you? Speak.
No, you may when you please.
Why were you then so impudent to proclaim such a falsehood and say I was your wife, and that you had lain with me when 'twas no such matter?
Because I meant to make you so, and no man else should do it.
Right, this is a device to overreach a woman with. He has madded me, and I would give 100 crowns I could scold out my anger.
Let me treat unto you. What lies in my power to make you whole again?
All power to make whole? I'll have no man command me so far. What can any lawful jury judge of my honesty upon such proofs as these, when they shall see a gentleman making himself ready so early, and saluting them out of the chamber, whether, like a false man, thou hast stolen in by the bribery of my servant? Is this no scandal?
'Twas done on purpose, and I am glad my inventions thrive, so therefore do not stand talking, but resolve.
What should I resolve?
To marry me for the safeguard of your credit, and that suddenly. But I have made a vow that unless you will do it without delay, I'll not have you at all.
Some politician counsel me. There's no such torment to a woman, though she affect a thing never so earnestly, yet to be forced to it.
Oh, what? Are you agreed?
Well, you are the tyrant. Lead on. What must be, but if there were any other way in the earth to save my reputation, I'd never have thee.
And I must do you a courtesy against your will.
And they exit. What on earth just happened? They basically started with a lie, and then he entrapped her into marrying him by going, yeah, she's totally, we just married, we eloped. It's like, yeah, totally fine now. And now, yeah, I charmed her, you know. And now she's basically forced to marry him because, yeah.
He's
Desna was
besmirched her
angry.
reputation.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Speechless.
I am curious whether she has a way out of it or not.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I do like how she gets. Yeah, I think Greg had to go. I do like how she's basically like, what must be. Like, but I'm just so you know, I'm not doing this because I like you. I'm doing this to protect myself. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is that Lucretia's character is actually quite um, an interesting one rather than sort of just someone who will go along with anything. I don't know. Any thoughts on this? Well, this scene or things that we've read. Desna, the
I'm just very,
rage.
the rage. I'm just very worried for Lucretia because so far, throughout what we've read up to now, she's been a very, very strong, confident woman, quite a caustic wit. In charge of her own situation, despite whoever rocking up and trying to, persuade her to marry them. But now it's really sneaky from Aurelio. And so I'm a little bit worried that what's going to happen is that she's decided she's going to marry him because it's the only way she can keep her reputation. But I'm just a little bit worried that it's going to go all smushy and she'll end up properly falling in love with him and seeing the error of her ways. And all that sort of patronizing stuff.
Yeah, but
so I'm worried for Lucretia.
Yeah. Yeah, but on the other hand, she does have access to someone who, wants to kill people. So,
So she could end up rich and a widow. Yes, this is true.
Yeah. Yeah. But also he happens to be her father-in-law, so I'm not sure how that would work. Yeah. I don't know if that's a trick Aurelio learned from his father. Mark, any thoughts?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Again, with yeah. But yeah, I mean, this terrible, evil move by Aurelio, it makes sense that it would work in terms of society. And the fact that it would put Lucretia in a tough spot if she were to be like, no, we were never going to get married. And then people would be like, oh, well, then why is he saying you were or were married or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. I hope that she finds a way to get back at him / get out of it.
Yeah. I do like how we've been built up to sort of be on our side, but I don't know if an early modern audience would be on our side either. Would maybe I don't know, because then again, 1640s, maybe women. I don't know. Would women be acting by this point? I don't know. Like I mean, like acting as in on stage. I don't know. So. Tom, any thoughts on this scene, or were you just enjoying the sort of vibes of sort of the the argument, the marital argument before this, and the sort of non-marital becoming marital argument?
I like Lucretia. She's got a fabulous. Seems to be about the only intelligent one in the whole play, but I still haven't found where it's going. Still haven't found what's driving it, even. So
yeah, it's
most probably going to be one of those things that you get all the way to the end of 76 pages, and there's going to be a bloodbath of the last 4 pages or something like that.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's a comedy, then maybe because I think it was described as a comedy in the sort of at the beginning of the yeah. So it probably means that people don't die, but maybe they get their comeuppance. I don't know. Maybe not. So I'm kind of hoping that it's a comedy and that it's funny rather than it turns out to be a marriage thing. Like they go skipping off into the sunset. I don't know. What I find weird is that like the first bit of the play was quite like hard and clunky to get through, but then in this bit there's been actually a lot of plot considering what happened. I feel like we would have to play it at full pace to get it like consistent. I don't know. Maybe we should petition Rob. Maybe not. I don't know. Depending on the ending, we shall have to petition Rob for the for this. I don't know how much sense all that plots or lack thereof made to you, Mark, having been here for a scene and a half, an act and a half.
Yeah, like I said, the main thing coming in part way and not having read the earlier part is just being baffled about who's disguised and what the audience is supposed to know versus not know and all that. The rest of it's all making sense, but it kind of partly hinges on that. So like, why is this character doing this thing? Is it because they're in disguises in this person and they're just making a show of it, or are they actually wanting this / feeling this way?
Yeah.
Don't know.
See, now I'm wondering if Aurelio basically sort of got his dad to sort of pretend to want to kill him, but I don't know, maybe it was because but then it was Moccinigo who had said it, so I don't know. I guess you have to do it like over the top though, otherwise it doesn't really work. Sort of, they have to be very serious with each other, otherwise it falls apart. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Someone please save me from myself. I think also, Mark, because we did this a week ago, so there's been the space of a week and other plays and things, and life. So it's very we actually forgot about the disguises as well. So yeah, it kind of falls apart if you don't know who's disguised as whom and why they're disguised. Yeah.
But yeah, I also feel like it, at least for some of it, it gets more confusing knowing they're disguised. And it's like, why are they doing this? If they're not who they're purporting themselves to be, then why are they doing this whole scene?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see as it goes on.
Yeah, but also because between Act 4, Scene 1 and Act 4, Scene 2, you get a thing of like, yes, we Aurelio going, yes, we are totally married, like we're over wait, what was it? It must have been like I think Lucretia appeared in I don't know 2-3 scenes ago. So there's this assumption that somehow she's worked out whatever plot she's got with like whatever conspiracy she's got brewing with Bravo and or Aurelio and Moccinigo. So because there's 3 people she's plotting against now. Well, 2, I guess, but no. So I guess the only honest people are the really terrible people who don't really know that they're being like they think they're on top of it, but they're not because everybody else is trying to sort themselves out. Yeah, I don't know what the moral of this story is. But yeah. Any final thoughts, Desna, on this bit aside from so disappointed?
No, I guess I remain intrigued as to what happens next, and I am also relieved that it's picked up the pace from the first section that we did.
Yeah.
And I keep feeling like I'm getting glimpses of I know what's going on, but actually, really, I don't.
Yeah.
It's still confusing.
Indeed. Well, also because like now we've got like how many plots have we got? We've got the plot of like making the Duke and Lionel making fun of the Antiquary and of Petrutio. Then we've got the Antiquary trying to buy whatever old things he thinks are of value, and now trying to get himself out of the shenanigans with the Duke, which don't actually exist because the Duke was in disguise in that scene. So that's 2 plots, I guess, and then you've got the Lionel, Emilia, Angelia plot or Angelina plot, which
and we don't even know what's going on with Angelia yet, do we?
From the beginning of the play, we didn't know that Angelia was. I mean, unless you read the program, obviously, or the dramatis personae, you don't know that Lionel is related to Angelia, aka the Page. Yeah. So, and then aside from that, there's also Aurelio trying to romance Lucretia, and then that flops. But then Lucretia finds someone who tries to kill him, who wants to kill Aurelio, and then yeah. So, what? Yeah. But also, I can imagine a situation where Moccinigo is going to cause problems because he laid claim to Lucretia first. Aside, I mean, as in like in a sort of being approved by her father way. So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work out at all. There's a part of me going, I thought I knew where this was going, and now I'm not sure at all. But apparently we have a banquet coming up because Petrutio is basically going to make a fool of himself, as far as I can tell. And I don't get his function in the plot, like aside from being the one that they're going to make fun of. But I don't know how that ties in with the Lucretia, Aurelio, and everyone else plot. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the banquet could just be the reason to get all the characters on stage together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
As
in Act
Desna
4,
was-
Scene 3. So, or at least like the next scene it begins with the Petrutio and the cook. So I don't know, maybe they're sort of
Maybe that's
preparing.
preparing,
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah.
You know,
Um,
like meeting with a wedding caterer beforehand.
yeah, yeah,
Talk about the menu.
yeah, yeah. But also, it's meant to be at the Duke's house, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, or like sort of in the context of him presenting something for the Duke and him going, "Oh, look, amazing stuff."
I think we're going to have to wait. It's like a tune in next week to find out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing is, if you forget what happens the previous week, it doesn't work.
We'll remember.
Yeah. Yes, we shall try to remember with the power. Yeah. Tom, any thoughts? Since I feel like you've been very quiet, but I think it might just be because we need to find out what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's I like the writing, but as I said in the beginning, it shows the real talent when you can and how you can keep the tension all the way through, and how it all weaves together. But read on, and let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, sort of, you kind of like I feel there's a line between tension and sort of drawing in the audience and sort of the audience not knowing what on earth is going on because there are so many elements and like this is like a fruit salad. I don't know, of everything.
Well, I mean, that's what we're all feeling. That sort of like it's not only our own as readers. It's not only our own sort of like first read, but it's difficult for us to imagine how the audience would receive this, rather than just being, as we are, sort of like confused slightly.
Yeah. Well, also because the motivation of the characters, like, I mean, as we said, we don't know why Bravo is dressed up as sort of, or why Aurelio's father is dressed up as Bravo. We don't really understand the plot function of that until probably much later in the play, which feels like a Middleton play, which is kind of weird. Because Middleton does the thing of action, 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 and then the explanation comes later. Depending on how you do it, and obviously depending on the play. Yeah. So, any other thoughts aside from confusion and utter frustration at Lucretia and Aurelio? How dare they? Well, on that note,
How dare he?
I know, right? How dare he? And well, also, it's kind of like clearly he had a brainwave between Act 3, whatever, scene, whatever. I think it was Act 3, Scene 4, and Act 4, Scene 2, because I like at the beginning doing all that wooing and whatever, he clearly did not think that through. Like, I don't know. He doesn't seem the brightest button bright. Yeah.
But
We'll
so
see.
far, his plot is working, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yep. Yeah. We shall have to see. So on that note, I shall thank the wonderful readers for their wonderful reading, and two of them actually dropped off the call because they had to do other stuff. So yeah, and join us next time for more confusion, probably. Is this crime enough? He has a life.